Are you ready for some bedtime stories? Bernard and I have picked some really fun ones for tonight, so let's get started. Our first book is called Truman. It's written by Jean Reidy and illustrated by Lucy Ruth Cummins, and it's published by Atheneum. This is Truman, by the way. This is a donut. Truman was small, the size of a donut, a small donut, and every bit as sweet. He lived with his Sarah, high above the honking taxis and the growling trash trucks and the shrieking cars and the number 11 bus which traveled south. Truman never honked or growled or shrieked at anything or anybody. He was peaceful and pensive, just like his Sarah. One day, Sarah ate a big banana with her breakfast. She clipped a blue bow in her hair and buttoned up a brand new sweater. She strapped on a backpack so big 32 small tortoises could ride along in it. But 0 tortoises did. Let me see that. Sarah placed 7 green beans in Truman's dish, 2 more than usual. She kissed her finger and touched it to his shell and whispered, "Be brave." And then she left. Well, not to worry. She'd left before and she'd always returned. But this time, that backpack was particularly big, and Sarah looked particularly pensive. And that banana, and that bow, and let's not forget about those extra beans. And that's when Truman saw something he'd never seen before. Sarah boarding the number 11 bus going south. The bus roared away. Truman waited for Sarah to return. He waited and waited. He waited through 1,000 hours, tortoise hours that is, until he could not wait any longer. He would go after his Sarah. He would catch the number 11 south, even amid the honking and the growling and the shrieking, even if it seemed impossible. Bonk. And that's when he noticed the rocks. 3 rocks that had always been there. Ordinary rocks that now seemed extraordinary. And the arm of the couch, and the pillow propped just right, and that tall, tall boot, and the rug, that glorious, endless rug. Without Sarah, their home seemed vast and uncharted and unsettling. There he is. Truly unsettling. But perhaps most unsettling was that Truman could no longer see the taxis, or the trash trucks, or the cars, or the number 11 bus. Which way was south anyway? Now the sun hung low like Truman's head and his heart. And just then, there's a flower. And then, vroom, screech, whoosh. Up floors and under doors, Truman heard it. A bus. It was time to catch the number 11 south amid the honking and the growling and the shrieking. Yet standing there in that ray of light, Truman felt peaceful and pensive and brave. But just as he was about to slip under the door, Through that opening, barely the size of a small tortoise, look, Sarah was back. She spotted him shining like the sun. "Truman," she cried. She scooped him up and said things like, "Oh my goodness," and "you," and "how did you ever," and "amazing." Sarah kissed her finger and touched it to his shell, and then tucked him safely back in his tank, where he was peaceful and pensive and proud. And later, just before bedtime, she read him a story. Now Thurman knew that one day soon he and his Sarah might travel south to see new sights and hear new sounds and think new thoughts. You see, she took him to school for show and tell. But they would do it together. So I guess he rode on that number 11 south and probably north because they'd have to get back home. Now, can you make a fist with your hand like this? And we're going to pretend that your fist is a turtle shell. I have a little turtle who lives in a box. He swims in the puddles and he climbs on rocks. He snapped at a mosquito. He snapped at a flea. He snapped at a minnow. And he snapped at me. He caught the mosquito and he caught the flea. He caught the minnow, but he didn't catch me. Well, let's have a story about another animal that, well, does do some traveling. This is called Mouse Mess. It's written and illustrated by Linnea Reidy. And this one is published by the Blue Sky Press. Do you see what they used for the O in mouse? That's a cracker. She dedicated this book to her dad, who loves cornflakes. Hush, hush, a little mouse is sound asleep inside his house. On the stairs, the sound of feet. Mouse is up. It's time to eat. Crunch, crunch, he wants a cracker. Munch, munch, a cookie snacker. Crackle, sweep, he rakes cornflakes and jumps into the pile he makes. Sniff, sniff, milk and cheese. Mouse would like a taste of these. Splish, splash, the milk spills out. Food is scattered all about. Sticky, gooey jam to spread with peanut butter smeared on bread. Tipping, slipping, sugar falls. Pour and pat, make castle walls. What kind of sugar is that? Did you say brown sugar? You're right. And brown sugar is moister than white sugar, so you can shape it into a castle if you wanted. Olives, pickles, ketchup, fun. Pop the tops off one by one. Mouse steps back. He looks around. He can't believe the mess he's found. Who made this awful mess? Asks Mouse. These people need to clean their house. Who made that mess? Gurgle, bubble, water flows, soaks the jam between his toes. Now that Mouse is clean and fed, he leaves the mess. Oh, here come the people. And he goes to bed. I wonder what those people thought when they saw that mess that who made? Mouse made. Well, let's do a finger play about a mouse. Can you put up one of your hands and put your other hand down at the elbow? And that hand is going to be a mouse, and your hand sticking up is going to be a tall grandfather clock, so we can do hickory dickory dock. Hickory dickory dock. The mouse went up the clock struck one, and the mouse ran down. Hickory dickory dock. Well, that family is going to have to do a lot to clean up that kitchen and get it all in order. And this story is about a little boy named Sam who likes things to be in a nice order. This is called the Line-Up Book, and it's by Marisabina Russo. She did the pictures as well, and it's published by Greenwillow Books. Sam dumped all his blocks on the floor, and then he heard his mother calling him for lunch. "Just 1 minute," Sam called back. Sam started to line up his blocks. They stretched all the way across his room and out the door. And when he ran out of blocks, Sam said, I need something else. Books. The books lined up all the way to the bathroom. "Come on, Sam," he heard his mother calling. "Just a minute," Sam called back. He looked around. "I need something else," said Sam. Bath toys. Now the line reached all the way to the front door. "Sam, it's time to wash your hands," called his mother. "Just a minute," Sam called back. The bath toys were all used up. "I need something else," said Sam. Boots. The boots lined up right into the living room. "Sam, the soup is getting cold," called his mother. "Just a minute," Sam called back. "I'm almost there." He looked around the living room. Can you guess what he's going to say? "I need something else," said Sam. Cars and trucks. They lined up almost to the kitchen, but not quite. "I need something else." "Sam, I'm going to count to 3, called his mother in a louder voice. "No, wait, just a minute," called Sam. Sam looked all around. There were plenty of things to line up in the living room, but either they were up too high or too heavy or not to be touched by Sam. "I've got to find one more thing," said Sam. "I'm almost there." "1," counted his mother. "I need something else," said Sam. Then Sam had an idea. "2," said his mother. He lay down on the floor with his hands over his head. Sam just reached the kitchen. He looked up and there was his mother saying, 3. She looked down at Sam. "What are you doing?" she asked. "I made a line all the way from my room to you," said Sam. His mother looked at the line. She picked Sam up off the floor and hugged him. "It's terrific," she said, and Sam smiled. "But next time, please come when I call you." "I love you, Mama," said Sam. "I love you, Sam," said his mother. "And now it's time for lunch." And there they are with their soup. It was still hot. And sandwiches. I can't tell. It looks like that might be a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Looks good to me. In fact, I'm realizing I'm a little hungry. Shall we cook some hot dogs? I've got 5 little hot dogs. They're cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. So 4 little hot dogs are cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 3 little hot dogs are cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 2 little hot dogs are cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and one went bam. 1 little hot dog is cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and the one went bam. So no little hot dogs are cooking in the pan. The grease got hot and the pan went bam. Well, this next story is actually based on a true experience by the author and illustrator Lizzy Rockwell, and I'll talk about that afterwards. It's called The All Together Quilt. And this is published by Alfred A. Knopf. Jennifer and her friends meet on Fridays at the community center. They are making a quilt. Everyone works together. First, Jennifer picks a fabric from the dark colors, and Fran picks a fabric from the light colors. Jennifer traces the shape onto the dark fabric, and then she traces the shape on the light fabric. Fran cuts out the 2 shapes. Jennifer pins them together. What shape is that? Do you see? Did you say triangle? Mm-hmm. Fran sews them together. Richard and Maurice work together. They trace and cut and pin and sew. And look, 2 triangles, when they're stitched together, make 1 square. Richard and Maurice, well, they cut out rectangles, but 2 rectangles together make 1 square. So Fran and Jennifer had a square. Richard and Maurice had a square. Sine and Melissa made a square. Anna May and Trinity made a square. Maria and Jocelyn, Nataline and Viola, Angela and Betty, Ernestine and Zach, they all made squares. And together in pairs, they made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they were all different, weren't they? Nika works on 1 blue square. She uses special pens and paints and brushes to make hers. It's already a square. Next, they arrange the squares. They turn them and move them this way and that. There are so many combinations of how they could make them. But the last one they try is their favorite, with that blue square in the center. This quilt will have a border around 4 sides. Jocelyn measures, and Anna May cuts 4 white rectangles. The pieces look plain, but not for long. Anna helps Jennifer cover the palm of her hand with paint. It tickles. And then Jennifer presses her hand onto the white fabric. Friends are invited to make handprints too. And now all the pieces are ready to go in the quilt. The squares and the long pieces. Labels show which piece goes where. This is the top border and this is the bottom border. The left side and the right side for the border. And then the rows, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3, row 1, and so on. They pin and sew and iron all the pieces together, and soon the patchwork is complete. Now it's time to layer the quilt with the patchwork on top, some soft fuzzy batting in the middle, and the backing fabric on the bottom. The layers are held in place with long basting stitches. And then the quilt is attached to wooden rods. Do you see they use tacks? And it's rolled tight and stretched across sawhorses. The square notches in the sawhorses hold the rods in position, and this makes a quilt frame. At the frame, Sandra learns to stitch. She pokes the needle down from the top and then back up from below. It's hard to find the right spot, but she practices and learns. It takes a long time to quilt the quilt. Everybody lends a hand. On many, many Fridays, they sit and stitch and talk together. And finally, the last stitch is stitched. The quilt is taken off the frame. It's trimmed into a neat square, and then Dot sews on a purple binding to close the edges. Many hands work together to make this beautiful quilt, but who will have it now that it's done? Everyone will have it. It hangs in the library for all to see. It's the quilt that Jennifer and her friends made all together. And when you get to the end, Lizzy talks about this quilt story being based on her real life. She's been making community quilts with her friends since 2008 with a group called Piece by Piece. And they gather at a senior housing complex in Norwalk, Connecticut. And most Fridays and Monday afternoons, the senior citizens who live there and other volunteers and kids living in the neighborhood come together to make the quilts. And they're the ones that they've had. I might have to do a little field trip up there to see if I can see their all-together quilt. Well, can you shake, shake, shake your sillies out, shake, shake, shake your sillies out, shake, shake, shake your sillies out, and wiggle your waggles away. And can you clap, clap, clap your crazies out, clap, clap, clap your crazies out, clap, clap, clap your crazies out, and wiggle your waggles away. Can you stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out, stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out, stretch, stretch, stretch your stretchies out, and wiggle your waggles away. Can you jump, jump, jump your jiggles out, jump, jump, jump your jiggles out, jump, jump, jump your jiggles out, and wiggle your waggles away. Can you yawn? Yawn your sleepies out, yawn. Yawn your sleepies out, yawn. Yawn your sleepies out, and wiggle your waggles away. Can you shake, shake, shake your sillies out, shake, shake, shake your sillies out, shake, shake, shake your sillies out, and wiggle your waggles away. Well, let's have one more book before our flannel board story. This is called Goodnight Tractor. This is written by Michelle Robinson and illustrated by Nick East, and it's published by Barrons. The stars are out. It's time for bed. So say goodnight, my sleepy head. Good night, farmer. Good night, plow. Good night, trailer. Good night, cow. Good night, dog. Good night, sheep. Good night, tractor. Time to sleep. Good night, combine. Good night, truck. Good night, donkey. Good night, duck. Good night, pig. And good night, sheep. Good night, tractor. Time to sleep. Good night, wagon. Good night, puddles. Good night, horse and hens in huddles. Dog and donkey, duck and cow, combine, wagon, truck and plow. Oinks and brays and moos and baas, quacks and nays and moon and stars. Good night, all. Now count the sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good night, tractor. Time to sleep. Well, shall we get out our bubble gum? Can you find your piece of pretend bubble gum and unwrap it and then pop it in your mouth? Chew it up until it's all soft and squishy, and then we can do something disgusting with it. Ready? Here we go. Is it ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. Did you spit it in your hand? And then clap your other hand on top so now your hands are stuck together with sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your chin. How do we get it off? Why, we say unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your back. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your nose. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your arm. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your cheek. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on your knee. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, stick it on mom or dad. Unstick. Sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum, sticky, sticky bubble gum. Time to throw it in the trash. Well, let's see who's going to be on our flannel board this week. It's a chicken, and her name is Minerva Louise. Now, Minerva Louise loved snowy mornings, but her friends did not like them one bit. They stayed inside with their heads tucked under their wings, but not Minerva Louise. No, she couldn't wait to go outside exploring. Well, she wanted to stay out all day, but it was so cold. If I had some warm things like you do, Scarecrow, I could stay and play all day. She thought, a scarf might help, and she found a hose. But, well, no, that was way too big. So maybe something for her feet? No, those were too big too. What she needs is a hat. But, well, not this one. But perhaps this one? No, it's too heavy. Well, there must be a hat around here somewhere, thought Minerva Louise. She looked outside. She saw everything had a hat. The trash can, the fence post, the scarecrow, even the snowman. Oh, said Minerva Louise, if I had a hat like that, it would be perfect. Where did you get yours? Well, the snowman didn't answer, but Minerva Louise saw something down at the bottom of the snowman. And she thought, oh, a hat, a hat. Oh, it's perfect. And I even have one for my tail. 2 hats. Oh, and you know what? That was just fine for Minerva Louise. There are lots of fun stories about Minerva Louise, who's a little bit of a silly head, don't you think? Well, let's finish up with a Sandra Boynton book. This is Goodnight, Goodnight, which is the original longer version of the Going to Bed book, which we sometimes have. This is published by Little Simon. The sun has set not long ago. Now everybody goes below to take a bath in one big tub with soap all over. Scrub, scrub, scrub. They hang their towels on the wall and find pajamas, big and small. And with some on top and some beneath, they brush and brush and brush their teeth. And when the moon is on the rise, why, they all go up to exercise. And down once more, but not so fast. They're on their way to bed at last. They climb into their feather bed, some at the foot and some at the head. And 2 little rabbits sing a song while everybody hums along. The hippos, big hippos, will dance in the mud. The piggies will follow them in. And down in that hollow will elephants wallow in mud that comes up to their chin. The cats and the bears, the lions and dogs, the rhino and moose come along. 2 rabbits, that's we 2, will gladly agree to sing everyone's dream in a song. The day is done. They say goodnight, and somebody turns off the light. The moon is high, the sea is deep, and they rock and rock and rock to sleep. So we're going to say good night to all of you. Thank you for coming to listen to some stories, and we hope you'll join us next week, and we're going to have some holiday stories. Right. We'll see you then.